Here I am. Here I am. Good morning. Sorry that took an extra second. I literally decided like 20 seconds before it started that my feet were cold and I needed socks. It's me. I'm here. I'm live. I'm alive. Good morning. Hi, Sam. Hi, Saida. The girl from the emote. Oh, God. Did you hear that? What was that? I just squeaked my straw. Sippy. I have my marshmallow tea. Also, I look very pink right now. I guess because of that. I almost pointed the wrong way just now. It's fine, though. Good morning, everybody. We're back again. It's Wildlife Wednesday. It's time for the wildlife. And today, as you may have noticed from the stream title, we're going to talk about mimicry. Because for some reason, this happened like last week, too, where I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And then I'm like, I'm just going to talk about this. And then that's all I've been thinking about lately. Oh my god, I'm getting really pink. Progressively pinker. It's fine. I might go adjust the lights later, but not right now. Because I think actually... Oh, you know what it is? It's, that one's pink and that one's revolving through colors. It's Live Wednesday. What if April Fool's falls on a Wednesday next year? I'm just gonna do Luigi Wednesday instead. Okay, yeah, the color is just changing. It's fine. We're just gonna live with the fact that it's... You know what? I can't live with this. Hold on. You're gonna see my leopard pants. Just give me a sec. I'm gonna go change the color of the light. Here I go. Here I go. It's a Thursday? That's upsetting. I don't know what. Alright, okay. I'm still kind of pink, but that's... At least it's one color now. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Nobody panic. Alright. So, again, we're going to talk about mimicry. I was thinking about doing other stuff. I was coming up with different ideas, and I just kept thinking about mimicry, so I just kind of gave up at a certain point and just did it and just went for it. So let's figure out where my browser is. There it is. Here we go. Mimicry. That's the whole stream. So we're like, you probably know that mimicry, the actual definition of mimicry is it. Let's go here. Let's go look at it. Is the action or art of imitating someone or something, typically in order to entertain or ridicule that. That's the like human and social definition. And then in biology, it's the close external resemblance of an animal or a plant or a part of one to another animal, plant, or inanimate object. The first April pranks that's on a Wednesday, isn't until 2024. Good thing she's gonna be streaming forever. That's right. That's the spirit. I'm gonna be streaming forever. So, if you don't know, Mimikyu is literally a Pokemon that what it does is mimic, and it's trying to be Pikachu, and it's very cute. And so we're gonna talk about like what mimicry is and why animals do it, and we're gonna go through some examples of animals that do it, like Mimikyu, you know. The biology of Pokemon. I'm just kidding. I don't know enough about Pokemon. That would be a fun biology thing, though, to maybe go through some Pokemon and the biology and how they would work. There's a book somewhere, I think, about that. Maybe we should play Pokemon on stream, yeah. Well, I'll think about it. I don't have Pokemon currently, but I could one day. We never finished Subnautica. We're talking about the creatures and that, so we should do that too. Get an emulator or get a Switch thingy. I'll have a Switch or emulator. I used to have I have a Nintendo DS Lite, and I used to have Pokemon White, and I think I lost it the last time I moved, and I'm so sad. So sad about it. Later then, not anytime soon. Yeah, at one point. I would like to do, at some point, more of the, like, video game biology thing. Again, I think that would be fun. You can borrow my Pokemon games. Okay. Thanks. I would like to get a Switch at some point. Disguise. Oh my god, sorry, really? Look at this! Oh my god. Sorry, I promise we'll get to Mimicry too, but look how cute it is. Look how cute. Oh my god. God dick. Oh my god. Okay, anyway. Sorry, I got too excited. So mimicry, we're talking about mimicry, and specifically we're going to talk about the biological definition and stuff, and then maybe towards the end, depending on how long this takes, we'll also maybe talk a little bit about people and why people mimic people, both in like good ways and bad ways. Probably more the good ways as a social thing, but we'll see if we get there. Not perhaps that can be another stream. So it's funny because when I was looking into this, you can see I was looking at the mimicry Wikipedia article, but I found another article when I was looking through it, and it was deception in animals. So I thought that would be a fun place to start, because we all like deception. It's the transmission of misinformation by one animal to another of the same or different species in a way that propagates beliefs that are not true. I read a book some time ago that was talking about animals, and it was talking about how roosters will lie to their hens. Like they'll deceive them, because what roosters do is they have their, their hens, they have their ladies, and when they find a good bug, instead of eating it themselves, they'll like yell at the chickens to come over and eat the bug, because a good rooster takes care of his hens. But this guy that studied them found that sometimes the rooster would be like, would sort of communicate to the hens that there was a bug over there when it wasn't, and it was so the rooster could jump on them and try to breed them. And it was just an interesting thing where it's like the rooster couldn't do it too much or the hens would stop believing him. Anyway, so animals are also capable of deception. A lot of it, I mean, like what we're going to talk today, it's not conscious deception. That's more like a little more conscious deception. But this is mostly probably what we're going to talk about is like visual mimicry, like animals that look like other animals and maybe animals that act like other animals. Although there is other kinds. We'll see. Anyway, yeah. Deception, it does not automatically imply a conscious act, but it refers at different levels. Playing with my heart. That's right. That's what roosters do. They play with your heart. That's why they're dangerous. If anyone lied to me about bugs, I won't be able to trust them. That's fair. Mimicry and camouflage enable animals to appear to be other than they are. So camouflage can be a kind of mimicry. Not all camouflage is mimicry, because there's different kinds of camouflage, which I don't want to get into a whole bunch, but there's like, we have talked about a little bit before how camouflage can be making yourself, or like having, certain colors and patterns that make you look like what's around you, but there's also stuff like disruptive camouflage, which is usually animals that have, stuff like stripes, because it makes it harder to see the outline of a single animal when they're in a herd. There's stuff like that. But there is kinds of camouflage that are mimicry, just not all camouflage is necessarily mimicry. Prey animals may appear as predators or vice versa. They may be hard to see or be mistaken for other objects, and those have name too, crypsis, which has to do with camouflage, obviously. And it's the ability to avoid observation or detection, and that can be done, again, by camouflage, by blending in with what's around you, or by doing stuff like, the disruptive coloration, stuff like that. Maybe mistaken for other objects. This is stuff like, leaf bugs, stick bugs are the ones that immediately come to mind as stuff that pretend to be objects. And then there's different kinds. We'll go to the mimicry page afterwards. I didn't even, all right, that's fine. There is a mimicry page we're looking at, and I didn't keep it open, but it outlines a bunch of different kinds of mimicry that we're going to go over. But one of the most common types is the Batesian mimicry, which is harmless animals appear to be distasteful or poisonous. This is probably like, when we think about mimicry, what people are usually thinking about. Like lots of animals, just generally as a defense mechanism, like try to make themselves appear bigger and stronger and scarier than they actually are, because that's a decent defense mechanism if you can scare away other animals from eating you by pretending to be bigger, pretending to be poisonous, pretending to be venomous, whatever, so on and so forth. And we'll get into that a little bit later. In automimicry, animals may appear to have eye spots in less important parts of the body, helping distract attack. Yeah, so this is, again, there's some difference about this, where it's like some animals have eye spots. Like, so there are some butterflies that look like they have owl eyes on them, like they're giant. And obviously in that case they're not pretending to be butterfly eyes, because butterfly eyes are teeny. La la DK crew. I don't remember the entire DK rap. Oh god. No matter where I go, Donkey Kong always follows me. So with eye spots, it can be either just pretending to have eye spots of a bigger animal to appear bigger than you are, or one common thing, not just with like the eye spots, is to just pretend or have other parts of your body, like particularly say the tail, that looks more like the head. So either, you know, if there's a predator coming at you, either it will think that you see it, or if it does attack you, it'll go for a less important part of your body, because in animals the head is like the most important part. Hi Helen, it's so good to see you. I only remember it in my heart, and also that one line. I just try not to. I love the new emote. I'm so happy. There will be more at some point. In more active forms of anti-predator adaptation. Okay, now we're getting into like other stuff, but animals may feign death, or may quickly conceal themselves, take action, like when cephalopods release ink. A harmless animal can adopt like a threatening pose, or so on and so forth. Yeah, so this is some of the stuff we talked about. We're not going to get really into, well, we'll look through this article really quick. We're not going to get too into the like feigning death and that kind of stuff, because that's not really, it depends on your definition of mimicry. I guess if you're feigning death, you're mimicking a dying animal, I guess. I remember parts still, I always played the entire DK rat when starting up the game. My god. Why would you do that to yourself? Some animals may use tactical deceptions with behavior that is employed in a way that other animals misinterpret what's happening to the advantage of the agent. There's not really. I don't know. Which monkeys? Levels of deception. Let's look at levels of deception. According to Mitchell and Thompson, there's 4 levels. False eyeballs. Lesser butterfly markings that indicate their heads are on the back end of their body, or markings to make predators appear safe. I don't know what that means. But as we talked about, like, if you're a butterfly and you have giant eyeballs on your back, it looks like, yeah, I don't remember what they're called. Butterfly with owl eyes. Now I want to play DK64 or DK64 Stream 1. No. Oh, they're literally called owl butterflies. Okay. That's so cool. But you can see, like, the point of this is a moth. Specifically, I love their little antennas. Is that looks like a much larger animal, and on top of that, if a predator were to see that, you know, it appears that this animal is looking at them and is aware they're there. So, kind of like basilisks and Dark Souls. Yeah, we're making connections. Sure thing. And then we have false behavior, such as predators acting in a way to hide its predatory nature. I have some examples written down of that, which we'll get to, because it's really interesting. There's also, it's literally going to talk about this next. Feigned injury to get or divert attention. For example, a parent mockingjay feigning injury to attract a predator away from its defenseless offspring. So I was reading about this a little bit earlier, where it was like, there's a thing sometimes that certain birds will do if there's a predator near to their nest, where they'll literally like drag one of their wings on the ground like it's broken, and they'll move away from the nest, and the predator, you know, identifying an injured animal and thus easier prey, will go after them. And then when the bird is far enough away where it's not going to be a risk to the babies anymore, they'll fly off again. It's all acting. They're all thespians here. Oh, also, I don't know if my alerts are working or just not on my screen, but hi, thank you, SNES, for the you I apologize. I didn't hear maybe that was when I was getting up. It's okay. Welcome. It's great to see you here. I'll be running back and forth to make dinner, probably listening. No problem. Feed yourself. That's important. Oh god. I clicked on my OBS by accident. Wait, hold on one second. I want to make sure. Am I a fool? Did I not put alerts on this? It's possible. Hold on one second. If I copy this, I put this here, like so, and then if I do this again, Oh god, I did it twice. Okay, no, I already had it up. It's okay. It's part of my overlay already. I just wanted to check to make sure. I can't hear it for some reason. Oh my god, there's so many highs. Why did that happen? Why did that happen? There were so many. Okay, I just wanted to double check. It's not playing a sound for me right now for some reason that I'm not sure about, but it's okay. Hold on, actually. I apologize. Let me do some troubleshooting here for a quick sec, because I think actually I know what is happening here. I think I switched the audio channels and it's making it be funky. So if I do this, I do that, and then I go back to this. I have too many things. Okay. And they go back here and they do something else here, and what is happening? What have I done? What have I done? I've done something silly. Okay. I take this and I say I want this instead, and this may mess up my music when we go on break, but it's fine. And then now if we go back to the browser, sorry, I'm just doing this on my OBS so you can't actually see what I'm doing. But now if I play this again, you're lucky. You get 3 plays now. It's still not. Wait, no, I think that time it did do a sound that time. Now I got it. Now I got it. All right. You get so much acknowledgement for that. You're welcome. I didn't realize it did the explosion of emotes when that happened. That's really cute. Okay. And lastly, we have verbal deception, such as a chimp misleading other chimps to hide a food source, or a human lying in order to deceive another. And I wonder if this is like by levels it makes it sound like it's sort of a progressive thing in terms of like how complicated it is, maybe, for example, because it's like, you know, this one, level 1, it doesn't require any active participation on the animal's part if it just looks like something scary. And then this stuff is more like they're actually acting, and then verbal deception is a different thing. I think crows, maybe crows or other types of birds, the smarter ones, are also capable of deception, and they'll do it when they're hiding food if they know other crows or other animals are watching them, because they don't want the other animals to go dig up their little food caches. Anyways, mimicry, yeah, we'll go here after. It's the similarity of one species to another which protects one or both species. And I'm not gonna get into this yet because this is what this entire article is about, so we're just gonna skip ahead. We're just gonna skip through all this, and I'm just gonna look really quickly at camouflage so we can talk a little more about what is and is not mimicry and camouflage. Camouflage is the use of any combination of materials, coloration, or behavior to help conceal an animal. So there's crypsis, which, you know, as I talked about here, it's just being hard to see. And this can be, you know, blending in here. Where's the gecko in here? There's the gecko. So this is the gecko. You can kind of see those are its eyes. And that would be a kind of mimicry because it is mimicking the pattern of what's around it. Whereas something like this is still camouflage, because if you're transparent, you're much harder to see, but that's not mimicry because it's not pretending like it's something else. It's just being transparent, being invisible, basically. And as we talked about before, there's like disruptive camouflage, which is like, I mean, I guess disruptive camouflage can also be like, it's showing the picture here. It can be, it can also be mimicry. I'm just thinking, I'm here. Please distribute the knowledge. Yeah. So this is a bird, and you can see that is like, it is still mimicking the shade or the color, sorry, of the tree around it, but like disruptive coloration, it's more this thing where it's like there are some fish that are striped, and you can see like if they lived in somewhere where the background was mostly black all the time, then being black helps. But if you live somewhere where there's multiple colors and there's like lots of different things going on, please, we need horror stream. Oh dear, brains are falling out. I've been waiting for so long. I don't like horror though. They're just wads. Okay, that's true. That's a real thing. And the same thing that happens here. It's like what is around you is really what like drives species to become the different colors and stuff. Because again, it's like let's see. Zebra. Herd. That's not how you spell herd, but it's fine. So the thing about like zebras is if you look at this picture, if you kind of look at it from far away, it becomes harder and harder to distinguish individual animals in that picture. So if you're like a predator, you're a lion, trying to pick one animal to go after is really hard when you can't distinguish individuals for others. I like horror and Watts doesn't like horror, and I like Watts, so I torture us both. I see no benefit. Please make a better case. God. I think it's funny because I feel like some people really like making the streamer they like watching suffer, and River's the dead opposite. No suffering. And then there's Mimesis, which is what? I already forget. It's just a mimicking objects, I think, right? Like the leafy sea dragon, it looks like seaweed. It's leafy. And okay, I'm not gonna get too much further into this because this is not mimicry. How many times did you have to arrest Watts in Universe? That's a fair point. In my defense, River, I do like being a rat to other people. I do like being a nuisance. So how many times this year? I can try uppercase, so that works for you. There's also feigning death, which we're not going to get too far into. Apparent death. Oh my god. Concealment, distraction displays. Yeah, okay. I feel like we've covered what I wanted to cover. In here, pattern of threatening or startling behavior. Oh my god. We might look at that one. I'll open the article for that. Tactical deception. Kind of want to read tactical deception now that I've... No. That's not important. That's not what we're looking at. Mimicry. That's part of Waz's charm. Also, I'm clipping something Waz just said because I'm sadistic like that. All right. Coming from someone who said, I don't like horror, Waz doesn't like horror. Why would I torture us both? All right. So, mimicry. We're getting here for real. So it's an evolved resemblance between an organism and another object or another species. I love you, Waz. I love you too, even though you're far away neck. All right. To be fair, I am doing an event on Saturday. I'm doing a podcast for which I do need a couple of clips. So that's okay. I'm okay with that. Mimicry may evolve between different species or between individuals of the same species, functions to protect a species from predators, often, not always. So it can be an anti-predator adaptation. That's probably the most common thing. Oh god, I gotta look at that because those pictures look exciting. Okay, stop it. Stop getting distracted. Mimicry evolves if a receiver perceives a similarity between a mimic and a model, and as a result changes its behavior in a way that provides selective advantage to the mimic. Get distracted. I'm trying to stay on topic. I'm trying. We can get distracted later. But so basically the way it works, as a kind of example, it's like animals learn things because it helps them survive better. If you're an animal and you eat something and it makes you sick, but you still, you survive, you likely learn then not to eat that thing because it makes you sick. And that's like the basic premise of why there's a lot of anti-predator mimicry, because, one big example is animals will mimic another animal that's poisonous or venomous, and like mimicking an animal that is poisonous or venomous can actually be better than being the animal that's poisonous or venomous, because producing poison, producing venom, that is really, energetically taxing. It takes a lot of energy to do that. And so if you can just get the benefit of being poisonous or venomous, or being perceived as poisonous or venomous without actually being toxic, you got it made. But that obviously doesn't work if there aren't any animals that are poisonous or toxic, because that's where the learning happens. What else we got here? The resemblance involved in mimicry can be visual, acoustic, chemical, tactile, electric, or combination. Yeah, like I said, we're probably going to talk mostly about the visual. It does expand to other places, but I feel like people are most familiar with the visual one. I definitely am. Although, well, I guess we'll probably get a little bit into the other ones too. Note to self, eat random things. That's where learning happens. Well, but if you think about it too, like, even for us, it's like often, you know, say with a food, you try it for the first time and it like tastes really bad, or you eat it and it makes you sick, you are way less likely to try it again. And but because we're able to, like, we are able to kind of override that sort of unconscious association learning, we can, try the thing again and understand why, maybe that was just a bad batch or whatever. I am autistic. I do not try new foods. I eat the same thing over and over until the day I die. It'd be that way sometimes. I keep eating these potato nuggets, and all I want is for them to be kind of crispy like hash browns, and no matter what I do to them, it won't happen. And last night, I think I used too much oil and now my stomach hurts. Hard being me. Me and my potato nuggets. Anyway. Mimicry may be to the advantage of both organisms that share resemblance, in which case it's a form of mutualism. So we'll talk about Wad's at something new Wad's learned. Oh my god. I mean, this is new, this thing. It's marshmallow tea. It tastes kind of funky. It doesn't taste bad, it's just weird. So again, we're gonna get into the different types a little bit further down in this. But basically some of the types are like, a harmless animal will pretend to be an animal that's harmful, or like a predator will pretend to be an animal that's helpful or harmless to other animals. There can be, like, the mutualism thing, like it's talking about where two species will like mimic each other, or they'll both use the same signal to mean I'm dangerous or I'm toxic, stay away from me. And the learning, because it's two species, the learning is more likely to happen more quickly, which makes them less likely to get eaten. That's where learning happens. Waz says they get sick after eating food. I mean, it is kind of a thing in life that, like, a lot of your learning happens by negative experience. It goes like that. Mimicry can be to the advantage, or it can be detrimental, making it parasitic or competitive. The evolutionary convergence between groups is driven by selective action of a signal receiver or dupe. Birds, for example, use sight to identify I can't say that. Palatable, that's the word, insects while avoiding the noxious ones. I'm pretty sure palatable just means, like, the good ones, the tasty ones, Yeah, pleasant. The good ones. Making them mimics and the noxious ones models. Oh yeah, sorry. Over time, palatable insects may evolve to resemble noxious ones, making them mimics and the noxious ones models. I think the thing that can happen with that, though, is if there's too many mimics and not enough models, then there's less likely to be learning, because the predator or whatever is more likely to have eaten one and it was fine. Time to send Wads out into the wilderness. I need to know which ones are tasty. It's the only way, sorry. I don't want to go to the wilderness. I mean, I have a forest near my house, and sometimes I go out there. That's wilderness. It's wild out there. There's bees. There's trees. There's beetles. Okay, and then, yeah, there's the co-mimics, which we'll talk about more later. Time to eat the trees and the beetles for science. Well, but I don't have to, because somebody else already has. I can learn from what other people do without having to experience it myself. I don't want to eat trees or beetles, please. Yeah, I'll skip over that because we're gonna get there. Mimicry between prey species and their predators often involves 3 or more species. My god. That's quitter talk. I mean, I'm all about doing things for science, but, you know, I don't do just anything for science. In the broadest definition, mimicry can include non-living models. The term masquerade or mimesis. Mimesis? Mimesis. Sometimes used when models are inanimate. Like flower mantises, which are so friggin' cool. We're gonna take a second to go look at them. Look at this man! Look at it. They're so cool. Look at his little eyes! I'm just judging you. Look at it. They're so pretty, though. Genuinely. Like, mantises are, like, kind of scary because they be wildin', but they're really pretty, these ones. I see what you're doing. I see you. Look at this. Look at this angel of a bug. I also like they're really cool looking, but I like how they're just kind of always like this. Hey. The pink one caught my attention. Yeah, the orchid ones are especially pretty looking. Ah! Babies! Babies! Are we playing Animal Crossing now? I approve. Look at the babies. Ugh, I hate when they do this. This is on purpose. It's the only species we know of that. What? Tell me. It pretends to be a flower. Okay. Animal Crossing with Mantis. Listen, they should add a Mantis character. Although Mantises are actually scary. Like if you're a small bug. I wish they would add some bug-based villagers. Orchid Mantis. Animal Crossing. No, really. Okay. Anyway. Plant hoppers. I don't know how I feel about that. They resemble leaves, comma. It's a butterfly that pretends to be what? Stage fine. Geometer moths. Oh, they kind of look like worms, maybe, like this. Okay. And they resemble twigs, bark, leaves, bird droppings, or flowers. Many animals bear eye spots, which we talked about. They may not resemble any specific organism's eyes, but they don't really have to. And whether or not animals respond to them as eyes is also unclear. But the subject of rich contemporary literature. The model is usually another species, except in auto-mimicry, which is the thing we talked about. They'll mimic other members of their species. No, really look it up. Orchid Mantis Animal Crossing. Hold on. I thought it was going to be a villager for a second. I got excited. But this is cool. Beauty. Good angel. I really like the way their eyes look, I'll be honest. But otherwise, it has an awful habit of disguising itself in order to avoid its enemies. So rude. It's also, I mean, to catch bugs, but bugs approach for nectar. Chomp! The mantis attacks. It can't fool me, though. Just look at it. Can't just see the antenna twitching. Don't be rude, blathers. Anyways. Alright. Yeah, so the auto-mimicry thing, yeah, it means itself for the same species. And the way, like, I think we'll get into this and I'll probably explain it again later, but the way it works is either like the thing where an animal uses one body part to look like another body part, so like making the tail look like a head. So if it is attacked, like the animal may go for the head, but it's actually the tail, which is safer because tails can be lost. They're not that important. There's no vital organs in there. And the other thing that happens, I was reading, I think a bit down on here, is that one of the, hold on, I don't know if it's in here, so I'll just explain it a little bit now and then we'll go. I want to hold bug, admire from distance. That's fair. Is the example was a kind of caterpillar that is poisonous. However, how poisonous individual caterpillars of that species are varies, but because they all look the same, it's impossible for predators to tell which ones are less toxic and maybe safe to eat. So that's still auto-mimicry, even though it kind of makes less sense to me. But it's okay to admire bug from distance. That's fine. If you just want to admire Bug from distance, you are valid. Please be nice to Bug, okay? Please be nice when you can. Or other, and then there's intersex mimicry, where members of one sex mimic members of the other. There's also a thing that happens where some predators will mimic, like, the mating calls or mating displays of other animals. This is usually like bugs that do this, to lure in unsuspecting bugs that just want to, you know, get it on, and then they eat them. Mimicry can result in an evolutionary arms race if mimicry negatively affects the model, and the model can evolve a different appearance from the mimic. So this is what we're talking about, of like the point of being, you know, for example, like noxious, poisonous, whatever, is to get eaten less. But if there is a mimic that is also pretending to be poisonous, but there's too many, so most of the time when a predator eats them, it's actually fine, then the predator will also eat the model more, so that it no longer works. And in that case, the model may evolve away from the mimic, in fact. Mimicry should not be confused with other forms of convergent evolution that occur when species come to resemble each other by adapting to similar lifestyles that have nothing to do with a common signal receiver. So the types of, like, convergent evolution we talk about is stuff like, stuff that's evolved again and again. So stuff like flight has evolved more than once, obviously, because there's stuff like bats, which evolved to fly separately from birds, and even though they, like, use the same solution to, like, possibly a similar problem or similar pressure, they do it differently, even though it's similar. And so on and so forth. Mimics may have different models for different life cycle stages, or they may be polymorphic, with different individuals imitating different models. Polymorphic just means they can have multiple morphs, or phenotypes, which basically just means, like, what they look like. Genotype is like the genetic makeup, and then phenotype is how it's actually expressed. Ediborst. Like the heliconius butterflies. Long wings. That sounds cool. Models themselves may have more than one mimic, though frequency-dependent selection favors mimicry, where models outnumber mimics. Yeah, as we talked about. Models tend to be closely related organisms, but it can vary. Most known mimics are insects, which is why we're probably going to talk about bugs quite a bit. Although I did I wrote down a couple examples, and I tried to find some that aren't bugs, just because nature is cool, and I don't just want to talk about bugs. Plants and fungi may also be mimics, though less research has been carried out in this area. So you can see there's like 4 main forms that it talks about, which is defensive, aggressive, reproductive, and automimicry. And as you can see, there's lots of different kinds of defensive, because I think that's generally mainly what mimicry is used for, is as a defensive tactic. So we're gonna get into all that. I have to take a sip. Hi, Bun. Good to see you. Also, I wanted to say that sometimes, like, when I made very sparse notes for this, and sometimes I'm like, I hope I'm, like, prepared enough, and then I realize it's been 40 minutes and we haven't actually even gone to talking about the specific kinds of, like, mimicry, and so we're fine. We're fine. How are you doing, Bun? I will have to go for a pee break in due course. Oh, gotta do a stretch. Oh god. I lied. I'm gonna go for a pee break really fast right now, because now that I'm thinking about it, I have to pee more. So I will be right back, and then we're gonna start talking about the actual kinds of mimicry, and we're gonna take a second here, because it's gonna take me a second maybe to figure out my music again. So I will be right back. Give me a second. That went down a little funky. Oh god, I've done something silly. Hold on. What did I just do? I've done a silly. How do I can't turn off my audio now. 1 second. It just occurred to me I could have turned it off in the YouTube player, but I just let it keep playing like a fool. Anyway, that was a fast beat. Listen, people point that out to me sometimes, and like, I honestly sometimes it literally takes me like 5 seconds to get the pee out of my body. Nobody clip that. You're not allowed. Okay, we're back, and I'm alive. It's fine. I'm doing well, just finished work. Was more of a chill day today. That's good. Don't clip it! Don't clip me talking about pee! Okay. So now we're going to talk about the actual kinds of mimicry. We're going to move on from that. So first of all, we're going to talk about, I'll just spit a little bit, ignore that. About defensive or protective mimicry, as it says, in which organisms are able to avoid harmful encounters by deceiving enemies into treating them as something else. I'm not clipping, but I can hope. So this is really the pretending to be what you're not so things will leave you alone. So these are the more, like, these are, I mean, the ones that I know most about. There's a couple of other ones, but this is also, I think, probably the most common is the Batesian Mimicry, where, again, like, something harmless poses as something harmful. There's Millerian Mimicry, where two or more species mutually advertise themselves as harmful. So this, again, comes back to the thing of, like, if two noxious things both kind of look the same and they're both noxious, more learning will happen more quickly because there's more of them, basically, and there'll be more interactions between them and predators. And then there's Mertensian mimicry, where something deadly resembles something less harmful but less in teaching, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. But the basic idea with that one is that if you're an animal that is deadly and one encounter with you kills the predator, like, that's great, but there's no actual learning. And it's better if all of the predators just leave you alone. Or, like, even that, like, an individual animal leaves you alone and then maybe passes that down to its, you know, offspring, that learning. That's kind of a mammal thing. But anyway, it's better if everyone leaves you alone. Yeah. There's more than 4 cases, but we'll go one at a time. Can we get a WADS quote channel, please? Clearly we need one. There is a quotes channel in my server. I mean, you could also clip it if you want that as a quote, but you can just put it in the quotes channel. Okay. In Batesian mimicry, the mimic shares signals similar to the model. Actually, 1 second. Let me look at my notes really quick. This is why I had notes, because I realized just now there's something I missed that I wanted to talk about. But it's okay. We'll talk about it when we get there. So, the mimic shares signals similar to the model, but it does not have the attribute that makes it unprofitable for predators, like being gross. So a Batesian mimic is a sheep in wolf's clothes, as opposed to a wolf in sheep's clothes. It's named after Henry Walter Bates. Good for him. Oh god. Oh? Okay. I just got confused. Mimics are less likely to be found out when in low proportion to their models. This phenomenon is called the negative frequency dependent selection, and once again, like we talked about, just to be clear, that's the thing where it's like, you want most interactions between the model or the mimic is the predator eating a model, because if it's too much of the mimic getting eaten and there's no downside to that getting eaten, then the model also gets eaten more, and that's not good for either species. Can only be maintained if the harm caused the predator by eating a model outweighs the benefit of eating a mimic. Yeah, so again, if it's like, if there's more mimics than models, then more of the time the predator will eat something that's good versus eating something that's bad. There are many award-winning quotes there, yeah. The nature of learning is weighted in favor of the mimics. For a predator that has a bad first experience with a model tends to avoid anything that looks like it for a long time and does not resample soon to see whether it was a false negative. That is definitely a thing. I mean, you even see that in humans, but you definitely see that in animals, where it's like that is how it has to be for survival. Like, it's better to like for it to be, you know, even if it is a false negative, to not retest, because what if it wasn't a false negative? Then you die, maybe. So avoid bad tigs. If mimics become more abundant than models, then the probability of a young predator having a first experience with the mimic increases, like I was saying. Such systems are therefore more likely to be stable where the model and mimic occur, and where the model is more abundant than the mimic, which is not the case in Millerian Mimicry, which is described next. Just look at what I have here. Right. Okay. There are many mimics in the order I can never say this word. Lepidoptera, which is like the butterflies and the moths, I believe. Yeah. That's a big one. So, a couple examples of this is... So there's... I haven't looked a ton into this, but there's two kinds of swallowtails. There's swallowtail, and I believe the spicebush swallowtail pretends to be the other kind of swallowtail, which is a pipevine swallowtail. Is it going to tell me stuff about this? What I want is mimicry. So in this case, we're looking at swallowtails, and I think, yeah, swallowtails are the ones where the larvae tend to have the big old fake eyes. Nom 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 nom. Their major form of predator avoidance is through mimicry. So as larvae, they have two stages. When they're in the early stages, they're dark brown, and so they appear to be poop. So these ones, I guess, they look like poop, and animals don't want to be eating poop. And then when they've progressed and they're almost ready to pupate, they become yellow-green, and they have two dots. So they have the green, which mostly would blend in with the leaves around them, and then they have these look like big fake eyes. And they look big. The placement of the dots on the swollen thorax creates the illusion that they're common green snakes. Ooh. Oh, I see. There's quite a few, hold on, caterpillars that look like snakes. There's quite a few, and some of them are actually really convincing. Like, I would think it was a snake if I was there. Like, that's kind of freaky looking, not gonna lie. Like, what is this? What is this? What is this? Even that one, to a degree, I can see it. It looks like a worm. This one is cool. This one is extra cool. I don't know what kind of caterpillar this is, but I think this is an even better example. So now I want to find out. Daily Mail. What kind of... Just tell me what kind it is. Here's spicy. Hawk moth caterpillar. Snake mimic hawk moth caterpillar. That's a mouthful. Such an itty bitty snake. Yeah, so this is a big thing, because looking like a snake is a good defense mechanism. Because not only will a lot of things that eat caterpillars, so stuff like birds, maybe even small rodents, stuff like that, will stay the heck away from you because snakes are what eat you. It's possible, like it was saying, this one looks like a pit viper. I don't know what a pit viper looks like off the top of my head, but pit vipers are venomous. And so that's another layer of, like, stay the heck away from me. That's very cool. That is wild. That is some extreme evolution. God, okay. Anyway, so that's one example where it's like this little fairly harmless prey species pretends to be something big and scary like a snake. And then when they're adults, they're resemble the pipevine swallowtail, which is a foul-tasting butterfly, even though I don't think they are. Yeah, they're not unpalatable, which means that they're not, you know, a predator would not have a bad time eating the adult spicebush swallowtail, but because they resemble the pipevine swallowtail so much, they'll just get left alone. They're unlikely to eat it. The other adults mimic other kinds of butterflies, I suppose. Another form of predator avoidance is the club-like extensions on their hind wings. An attack from a predator focused on the small or the false head will leave the butterfly itself unharmed, though with slightly damaged wings. But so I guess I presume this is what it's talking about when it says false head. Like this back here, maybe like this. Because like I said before, like the head is usually the most important part of the animal. Without a head, you can't do much. But a lot of animals can survive without limbs and stuff like that, and like without tails, but like without a head, absolutely not. So protect the head at all times. I have other ones I want to talk about. Yes, this is talking about butterflies. Several palatable moths produce ultrasonic clicks to mimic unpalatable tiger moths. There's also the mimic octopus, which can... Oh, we'll go look at this one. So they can resemble sea snakes or lionfish. So this is a case where I think they're mimicking a sea snake, because I believe there are a certain kind of maybe banded sea snakes look like that. This is a typical pattern. It's very cute. It's very cute. Can I see more of the pictures? Oh, okay, that's fine. They will mimic lionfish, sea snakes, jellyfish, zebra sole. I'm not sure what zebra sole are, but some of them are toxic. Or flatfish. Not only does it use its ability to defend itself, it also uses aggressive mimicry to approach wary prey, for example, mimicking a crab as an apparent mate only to devour. So that's another one we will talk about. Cockroach can survive without a head till the body starves to death. That's horrible. And also probably more like an exception. It does get, like, obviously there are animals that don't have brains. They don't exhibit cephalization, which is having, you know, all the brain power more or less in one spot. And so, and like, obviously we can think of, you know, stuff that's in the more primitive phylums, I guess. Like if you think about stuff like jellyfish, like sponges, all that kind of stuff, like they don't have a brain, so and they don't have a head, so it doesn't matter. But it's like, don't have brain, head empty. Dinner served, I'm all ears now. Wonderful, so nice to have you back. But with, you know, I would say most fish, you know, mammals, birds, reptiles, all that stuff, they kind of need a head for stuff. That's really, again, going back to one of the things I did as part of my job and whatnot, with the reptile places, one of the things was, you know, bringing in, injured turtles and like holding them there until they could be transported to the turtle hospital. And the general thing was like, if their head's okay and their internal organs are all where they need to be, then they have a very good chance of being okay. But it's really like, if there's anything, their head was like severely damaged in any way, like it's very, or like if they don't have a head, they're gone. More reasons cockroaches are a nope. Hate roaches. Hi, Wonderbread. It's good to see you. There actually is. I was trying to look into this, but I was having trouble actually finding it, so I didn't put it on my list. But there was... I apologize, we are going to look at cockroaches really quick, but is that attached? Okay, proceed. That's step one. If it doesn't have a head... There was... I was having trouble finding the actual, like, thing for this, but it was saying that there are a kind of cockroach that actually look like ladybugs, and it was saying they're called Philippines cockroaches, and they were like in a genus called like Prospecta, but honestly I couldn't really find anything on either of those things, so I didn't include it. But I believe it's this thing. Look at it, kind of cute. Oh my lord, look at the yellow one. And I think, yeah, there's one that like can glow in the dark and stuff. I'm not a big fan of cockroaches. Just, I I've held cockroaches and a couple other kinds of bugs just because, you know, I'm a science kid and a biologist, and if someone says you want to hold a bug, I don't turn that down. I'm not, you know, it's part of the job description, but I really don't like the feeling of little bug feet. I'm not a fan of that. Like, just put it, I would hold stuff like this. Don't mind me just holding some bugs. Yeah. Tarantulas feel like Velcro, but bugs just, they just don't feel good. They don't feel nice. It's not a fun time. Okay, so a sentence I'd never thought I'd say in regards to cockroaches. I want one. Yeah. They're pretty cool. I mean, like, they're cool when you get to decide you want to look at them and see them and stuff. They're not cool when you randomly find them in your house. Tarantulas, they do. Their little feet feel like Velcro. Tarantula. Feet. I think they have like little... little foots. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Oh my god, I'm gonna tweet that picture later. I'm gonna, not right now, but that's important. I'm gonna tweet that. Everybody needs to see that. That's adorable. Just popped in to say hi. A busy day ahead. Per usual, I see we're talking about spiders. Creepy. But look at that foot. Also, hi 3B. It's wonderful to see you. We're not gonna be talking about spiders for long. We were just talking about the way tarantula feet feel. Big nope on the spider in front of me. But don't look at the spider. Just look at the foot. Just look. Hold on. Don't even look at the spider. Look at the foot. How do I open this in a? I just want the image. Image and no tap. I can't do it. Just show me the foot. Just look at the foot. Don't even look at this. Just look at the foot. Look how cute that is. Baby foot. I will take spiders over, like insects any day. Foot. Okay. Now that we've had the moment of that, we can go back to octopuses, which is what we were talking about originally. So like I was saying, the octopuses both show like the Batesian mimicry, which is the pretending to be something scarier and more dangerous than you actually are. And it also, I don't know if there's a name for like the aggressive like predatory mimicry, but like we were talking about before, it like will pretend it's, you know, a hot single female crab, and the male crabs will all be like, ooh, and then get eaten. So octopus may be able to intelligently use its mimicry based on the situation. An octopus which was being harassed by a damselfish mimicked a banded sea snake, a damselfish predator. Okay. You guys have fun. I'll be in lurk mode. Peace out. No problem. Thank you for coming. I apologize you came in right when we were talking about spiders for the first and probably one of the only times in this stream. Okay. I would do a whole stream on octopuses one day, you know. Octopuses are so friggin' cool. Anyways, it's fine. It's fine. So that was, I forget where we were in here. Oh, we were in here. And I was looking at examples. We have the mimic octopus, the helmeted woodpecker has a similar, it just kind of pretends it's a bigger woodpecker than it is. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Reduces attack from other animals. They falsely believed it was a close cousin because of the visual similarity, but it's not true. It can occur in the plant kingdom, but we're not really going to talk about that because I'm not a plant person. But what we're going to talk about is I had a couple other, examples of the Batesian, Batesian mimicry. We talked about the swallowtails already. I'm going to take that one off. We talked about the octopus already. So two other ones I want to talk about. And there's one of these, actually both of these we're going to talk about in other forms too, because it's like it's a multi-dimensional mimicry thing. Tag me on Octopus Day. Absolutely. I don't know where it is because I have too many books, but I read a book a little while ago about octopuses, and honestly, it was like one of the coolest things I've ever read. They're just wild, and they're really like, hold on, I'm gonna like simp for octopuses for a second here. One of the really, really fascinating things about octopuses is they have like evolved a kind of intelligence that like involves problem solving and stuff like that, but there is a theory that we as social creatures evolved like to be, you know, more quote unquote intelligent because of like the social aspect, and it's why we developed certain like why we experience and produce certain hormones, like the ones that like make you want to be more social. But octopuses are not social creatures, so they learn to problem solve for some other reason. Oh god. One. Put my sippy down. Okay. So, some other things that do the Batesian thing are, this is one we've talked about before because it's a snake and I love snakes, but there's a couple different kinds of milk snakes. I can't spell today. Was it The Soul of the Octopus, a surprising exploration into the wonders of consciousness? Maybe. I wish I had the book. It was like this story about this, I believe it was a lady who was studying this, and it was about her experiences with, I think, 3 different octopuses. And it had like, she would actually talk about them and her interactions with them, and it was really cool. One of them was named Octavia. I can remember that. That's all I got. But there are certain kinds of milk snakes. So there's the Honduran milk snake, there's the Sinaloan milk snake, there's other ones. Anyway, but Sinaloa, or like, milk snakes are not venomous. They're not poisonous, they're not venomous. But coral snakes are. Coral snakes are highly venomous. And as you can see, black, red, and yellow snake. Black, red, and yellow snake. And milk snakes are totally harmless. So that is one example where, in this case, the milk snakes will pretend to be the coral snakes, in order to not get eaten, basically. And here also, we have a kind of milk snake. I've definitely talked about this before, but just deal with it. We have eastern milk snakes, and they don't look like that because we don't have coral snakes here. What we do have here is rattlesnakes, and these milk snakes will pretend to be rattlesnakes, as will quite a few species here, like in Ontario and like Canada, because rattlesnakes are like the dangerous snake we have here. So there are several kinds of snakes that will pretend to be rattlesnakes, and they can make the sound like a rattlesnake does by hitting their tail against the ground really quickly and vibrating it. It's very cool. But those are all examples kind of the same thing, of that. Leave me alone, I'm very scary, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous when you're not actually. So that's some examples with snakes. And then the other one I wanted to look at was, there's a thing called a hoverfly. And as you can see, hoverflies look like bees, or they look like wasps, and they don't sting. They don't have like any poison or anything that I know of. But they do the same thing, sort of like the milk snakes do, of pretending to be something that is, you know, toxic and will hurt you. And it works. They just, you know, pretend to be scarier than they are. It's a valid strategy. It's a very valid strategy. Oh god, sorry, I've done something silly here. Okay, so that's that one. That's the Batesian one. And we'll go back. And so the next one we're going to talk about is the Millerian Mimicry. Is where 2 or more species have similar warning systems or aposematic signals. And we'll go, this is the thing I want to talk about earlier and I forgot, and I figured we would get to it at some point. So aposematism is essentially when animals don't do camouflage. Instead, they are specifically bright and easy to see, and they use that as a warning system to be like, stay the heck away from me, basically. So obviously one of the main ones we think about are different kinds of frogs, like poison dart frogs and stuff. That's like the simple one. But even I had a thought in my head and then it ran away. I don't know, but this is it's a good example of like, this thing would obviously be easy to see among like a bunch of green vegetation, but because it is poisonous, it is unlikely that predators want to eat it. It's advertising by an animal to potential predators that it's not worth attacking or eating. Shark bug. And it may be because it's difficult to kill and eat, such as toxicity, venom, foul taste or smell, spines, or aggressive nature. it may be coloration, it may be sounds, it may be odors. So that can be like the warning signs that skunks do before they spray you. Like they'll turn around, they'll put their tail up. And that's obviously not a good time for anybody. Shark bug. And they're beneficial for both predator and prey, so they both avoid potential harm, which is good. And that again goes back to the learning thing of, like, you know, an animal that learns not to eat if that bright color means don't eat me because I'll make you sick. It's a good thing. It's exploited by Millerian Mimicry, as we were talking about, where species with strong defenses evolve to resemble one another. And it basically means that, yeah, the learning happens more quickly because there's more opportunities for learning. And there's a couple examples of this that I have written down. So we have, y'all probably know what a monarch butterfly is. This friend. Very pretty, very pretty. Now may I introduce you to the viceroy butterfly. Same thing, almost. Not quite. I believe the difference in how you can actually tell them apart is they have this line down here, and I don't think monarchs do. Yeah, they don't have that line. That's one way you can tell them apart, but they're very, very hard to tell apart. And both, I believe the viceroy and the monarch butterfly are toxic, I think. I'm gonna double check that. So I'm not out here lying to you. Oh my god, there's so many things. Octopuses. Yeah, because they feed on milkweed. They are foul tasting and poisonous, and I believe so are the viceroy. And in this case, the helpful thing, oh god, the helpful thing about them looking at each other is if, you know, they're both existing in the same place, it will take less exposures to, like, one or the other for a predator to learn that, oh, okay, like, bright orange and black means gross, don't eat it. Which is a good thing. It benefits them both, and that is why we see that. Another one you can see that with is wasps and bees. Wasps. Bees. Because wasps and bees are related, but they are different. Spicy bad. But they display the same warning signal, and that's a really interesting one because that is one that people know. That is a common thing that people know, that black and yellow means bees or wasps. It means things that will sting you, and thus we want to stay away from them. And even though there's, like, lots of different kinds of wasps, there's different kinds of bees, we know that black and yellow stripes mean dangerous. Like, I mean, it's fairly minor danger to us, but we still know that that's uncomfortable and there is some danger there, and we avoid them. And that's literally a good example of how that works, because even if you've been exposed to bees and gotten stung by bees but not wasps, you would still probably see the wasps and think, oh, that thing could sting me, I'm going to stay away from it, and vice versa, which is why it works. Smart. We're out here being smart. Okay, I have to pee again really quick. Oh god, I'm so sorry. I will be right back. Enjoy some music while I'm gone. I'll be so fast. I'm back, and I keep shoving a handful of granola, or not granola, trail mix into my mouth, and then trying to chew it really quickly. And it is not all going down smooth, I'm not gonna lie to you. I missed you. Aw. That's sweet. Alright. Back to it. I was at yoga class and got rained on. Well, that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta do yoga in the rain. It has been so dark and rainy here, and while I'm grateful for the rain, it just being super dark outside makes me want to do nothing. It makes me want to have a bath and lay in bed and watch movies and like have cocoa or something. I don't know. Very hard to do things. Alright. So we were talking about wasps and bees. And I think Helen said that wasps are a no for her, which is fair. Understandable. But that's the thing though. It's like bees and wasps can sting you, and we often see wasps as worse because they tend to be more aggressive, and honeybees can only really sting you once. They're just less likely to sting you overall, and they're also really cute. Hold on, we're gonna take a sec. We're not gonna look at that, I'll tell you that. We're just gonna look at oh, that's nice. No, not that. No. So cute. So cute. They're so friggin' fuzzy. So I eating dumpster bread. Oh. Oh, beautiful. I just try to look at these fuzzy beds. But if a bee stings you, it's terrified, you're gonna kill it or gonna attack its hive. As if a wasp stings you, it's just being a douche. I mean, wasps, I think, just tend to be a little bit more aggressive, but they sting you for the same reasons. They're scared of you. They're just doing their best. They're doing their best. Oh, you're eating in Stardew. I see. Are you playing Stardew right now? Are you playing without me? That's okay. I'm okay with that. I respect you. Plus, I'm busy talking about bumblebees. Oh my god, look at them with their pollen. I'm gonna cry. Look at you're doing so good. Sorry. I really, really like bumblebees. They're just so chunky and fuzzy, and they're just ridiculous. God, hold on. There's a Tumblr post like Tarantula beat. Hold on. I'm gonna try to find it, but not on there, just because Tumblr is, who knows what comes up. Oh, plus I can't spell, and I don't want you guys to see that. Okay, let's do that really quick. I did what did I just say? Bee wasp hornet. See that? I just did the same thing. You did not see that. You didn't see that. I do have Tumblr, but I really don't use Tumblr anymore. Please don't call me out for how I just misspelled hornet. Thank you. No one saw that. It's fine. Everything's fine. This is so cute. We're just gonna look at... Hold on, we're just gonna look at Tumblr really quick. Oh god. Can I look at these closer? No! Forget it. Tumblr's a mess. Flying pom-poms, efficient pollinators, means no harm. Makes me sweet golden stuff. Soft fellows, sweet, sleek and elegant, also pollinates. Hunts pest insects, gives respect if given respect. Warriors. That is one thing I do like about wasps. LOL, watch which sound does the bumblebee make? They just kind of like your bees, hand them over. Are you in the subreddit real bees fake top hats? I'm not, but I could be. Hold on. I can't spell it. It's okay. I got the idea. Oh god. Don't. Hold on. What about the We're not looking at the sub, we eat bees. Ridiculous. Real bees. Big top hats. What about that? Oh my god. Oh my god. There's been over 10,000 visits in the past week. Oh my god. I mean, who could blame you? A lovely bee outfit with accessories. A reflective bee looking at stab rescue. This is so cute. A spiffy gentleman resting upon a flower. A fancy bee with a hat that's sparkly. A lovely gent collecting nectar from a flower. Little fella got lost, needed a little snack. A dapper bee resting upon some plants. This is adorable. That's so... They're just so fuzzy. That was an excellent building. Thank you. Fancy gal in red. This nice gentleman feeding on my balcony mitt. What a lovely man. A dashing sir with a vibrant top hat upon his head. Shy but dapper. Fuzzy bottom. A steampunk bee. A dashing bee with accessories aplenty. This is a very good use of time. A spiffy gentleman with a decorative piece of headwear. Okay, we are getting off topic again. It's very good though. Although this was not as particularly on topic. Not a bee, not a bee, not a bee, not a bee, bee. Yeah, hornets got that especially got that, or sorry, wasps and hornets got that cinched waist. Killing it. Bee versus wasp. Wasps are scary. I think I've probably talked about this before, but wasps are like one of the scariest animals in my opinion in just how they treat, like, they're predators, and how they treat their prey is horrible. Oh, this was the thing I was thinking about. Wild bee, just getting snack. No prob bee. Mason bee, just make house. Build away bee. Honey bee, just sampling the lavenders. You know I got an assortment. Bumblebee, hey bog, I bog, me hold the flowers hill. Wasp, I'll see you in hell. You tell them who sent you. Wasp, don't be rude. No, I do like wasps. Wasps are good because, like spiders, they, like, eat other bugs. And that's a good thing, because it, like, in my house, spiders are welcome because they eat the other things that are annoying, like flies. And wasps, I think particularly, they'll eat the larvae of other stuff, which can be really good. Like right now we have the invasive Japanese beetles here, which is unfortunate. And I don't know particularly if the wasps here will eat the larva, but they do tend to eat larvae of other things, which is good. All animals are appreciated here. I could absolutely beat a wasp in a fist fight. I can't. People really hate wasps and hornets. I know they're all good and useful. I just don't want them around, especially in my apartment. I do get that. I understand that. But you have to remember that, like, we are existing in the world with them. You know? Like, I just do my best to, like, if they're in my house, I just take them outside. And I get that it is annoying and stuff like that. But it is their world, too, you know? You gotta respect them. They're just doing their best. I do not respect mosquitoes. I hate mosquitoes. Although they are also useful in their own way. They help, I mean, to some degree, they help regulate populations of humans. Which sucks for us, but that's nature. That's how nature be. Ah, this is cool. I don't know if we've talked about this at some point or not. I think I wanted to at some point, but there are kinds of honeybees that, yeah, there's a video somewhere of... Okay, we gotta, hold on. We gotta go look at this. We gotta go look at YouTube bees attacking wasp. That's how nature be. Honeybees, maybe? No. This, I think. Here we go! Can you guys hear that okay? Hold on. I don't think I have desktop audio on.
Those bees too young to forage are housekeeping.
Yes.
Like the hornet queen, the art of keeping the bees grow.
Show me the hornet.
Her dynasty are in danger of overheating.
Seasons change faster.
The hornet.
Hornet's presence.
Oh, it's coming.
The scout smells the honey within. A prize this rich is worth scent marking.
Oh. Oh. He's so big compared to the little bees.
But unlike the European bees, these Japanese bees do not attack. Instead, they lure the scout inside.
Danger. It's happening. Oh, God, look at the mouth parts on that thing.
Still, the bees hang fire. Then one is caught.
Oh!
It's the signal the others have been waiting for.
What a way to go! Frickin' swarm! They get in there and they vibrate so fast it like cooks it. That's what they're doing. Go get the mean wasp. Hey, the wasp is just trying to survive too, you know?
Surrounded by vibrating bodies, the hornet at the core of the bee ball begins to overheat.
The bee ball.
The bees have the advantage, a heat tolerance 2 degrees above that of their enemy. At 46 degrees Celsius, the aggressor is roasted alive.
46 degrees Celsius. And they killed it, just with sheer heat. It's dead. They killed one bee and it got ruined for it.
The wild bees have spent millions of years living with the enemy. That's why they alone have developed this extraordinary survival
Sheer body
strategy.
power of love. I will say I do understand it can be hard to not root for certain animals. Like even lately there's this one video I like watching, and like now we're gonna watch it because I've brought it up. This one. I love watching this one. It's so cool to watch. But it's like the problem with nature is like whenever one thing loses, another thing, or like whenever one thing wins, another thing loses. So in that case, it's like, well, the baby wasps are now like on their own, which is not a good thing. It's sad. He's a survivor. He did it. All right. That's one of those videos I always think is really cool. They don't all make it, and that's how it's supposed to be. Okay. Yeah, wild. Absolutely wild. Okay, what were we talking about? We're talking about aposematism. We're talking about warning coloration. I'll keep that one up just in case. We were talking about the Millerian, right? Mimicry, yes. And I think I talked about my examples. Yeah, we did the monarch of Zorai, we did wasps and bees, and like the poison frogs. There's also one other, speaking of frogs, so the frogs also do, wait. Do I have this on the right one? Yeah. I guess. So there is, with poison frogs, there is kind of Millerian and there's like a little bit of Batesian going on, and that there is lots of poisonous frogs, and like a lot of frogs and toads have some kind of toxin in their skin. That's very, very common. But there's one particularly that I think is interesting. It's called it's literally called a mimic poison frog, and they look like other poison frogs, and they are poisonous, just not that poisonous. They're just mildly poisonous. But they're still poisonous, but they just pretend to be even more poisonous than they are. And like other poison dart frogs, because they get the toxin from their diet, and that's how they are able to produce it, they are not toxic in captivity, because we don't feed them things that give them, you know, the power of toxicity. So it's very cool, and they're very cute. But the interesting thing about the poison dart frogs and the other kinds of frogs like that is they come in lots of different colors and patterns and stuff, but it's all with the same idea of like bright colors means I am poisonous or venomous, stay away from me, basically. And so it's just interesting that this one is termed a mimic because it's not actually as toxic. But it still pretends to be. How much cat knowledge do you have? I have some. I don't know a ton about cats. I know some stuff about cats. I know a thing or two. I know most about reptiles and amphibians, but I do know some things about other stuff. We just kind of lost our cat outside. We can't find him. That is so awful. I'm so sorry to hear that. Is your question going to be how do you find a cat? That's a good question. That is an excellent question. I have seen some stuff about how to find cat. I can't remember if this applies to cats or dogs or if it's the same kind of thing, but I think there's a couple different things you could do. Yeah, he'll probably come back on his own. I think the things you can kind of do with that to like is like kind of like lure him back. Like if you have stuff like a blanket or clothes that you know he likes and will smell familiar to him, you can like put those out in a box and you can put out like food and water. Well, maybe be careful about putting out food because other animals will eat it, but that's like, yeah, something of theirs outside. And then yeah, if you put that near their house, then they may be able to find it again. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's scary when cats get outside. You know what to do. Yeah, food attracts other animals, but that is something like that may scare away the kitty. That's a fair point. You just go out and beat them off with a stick. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. He's like 6 months old and not castrated yet, so he might take a long stroll from females since he might be hitting puberty. Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing you can do is just obviously like let other people know in the area if they see him. It's illegal to have uncastrated cats out by themselves. That's fair, and that sucks. And then I think that's a common thing with the dogs and cats is like leaving something out that smells familiar and maybe that you know that they like hang out on or near the house to help them come back. But like most likely well, I don't know much about your cat, to be fair, but I do know that cats that tend to be more outdoor cats, like they do know where home is, so there is a decent chance that he will just come back on his own. I'm so sorry to hear that though. That's really stressful. Literally, when I lost my gecko in my own house, and I knew it was probably in the same room but couldn't find it, it's so stressful. He's been outside a lot though, on a leash and together with us, but he normally doesn't run away. We just can't seem to find him. He might just be, yeah, that's totally fair. Mm-hmm. I meant like there's a whole thing that's really interesting about how far cats will go away from their house, but like when they are outside by themselves, they do learn to find their way home. Not that I promote letting cats out alone by themselves, obviously. We also have cat flaps, which you can use to get inside, but he doesn't really realize that yet. That's fair. That's understandable. Yeah, I haven't had, well, the only thing I've had like that happen lately was my lizard getting out, but she didn't get out outside, because if she did, I probably would never find her again. Scary. Very scary. I found her, and she was okay, and I hope that he comes back very, very soon. Alright. What were we talking about? We were talking about frogs. Yeah, we were talking about the mimic frogs, so again, just to reiterate my point before we move on, that poison frogs, especially like the poison dart frogs and stuff like that, they do come in lots of different colors, but they still have the same idea of the like apposematism and whatnot. I probably will come back when we start exploring. That's what I would do, frankly. I like to explore and then go home to where, you know, I'm safe and have food. So in this case, they're like with between the poison dart frogs, it's more of a like Millerian mimicry where they are pretending, or they're not pretending at all. They're just using like having a similar like pattern or whatever to something else that's toxic to reinforce the faster learning so they get eaten less often. But there's also the mimic poison frog, which in a way is pretending to be more poisonous than it actually is. So that's more the Batesian mimicry, which is pretending to be scarier than you are. And then we can go back. I'm really looking here. Yeah, this was I think this is a cool thing because it's, yeah, basically like the question begins is like if both are harmful, why do they need to mimic one another? But again, like it's saying if a common predator confuses two species, it's more likely to survive. So if both of you are toxic and look alike, the predator is even more likely to have a interaction with one or the other and then to avoid both because of it, which is good. Both the mimic and the model benefit from it, so it's kind of mutualism, maybe. The signal receiver is also advantaged by this system, yeah, because it goes both ways in that like one interaction will have them avoiding both instead of just the one. So this is good. It's a good thing. When one species is scarce and the other abundant, the rare species can be said to be the mimic. And like we talked about, there's the monarch and the viceroy, however you want to say it, that do it. There's a subspecies with different coloration. That's cool. The viceroy is also involved in 3 Millerian pairs. That's cool. But there was a while where they thought the viceroy was just mimicking it, but actually it's also it's the more unpalatable species, which means it's even less fun to eat. Yeah, this is still just talking about butterflies. At least 7 species of Millipedes form a Millerian mimicry ring, in which unrelated polymorphic species converge on similar color patterns with a range of that. That's cool. In case you don't know, so there's Millipedes and centipedes, and Millipedes are the ones that kind of look like really long